our story today of the young man, we're going to give a story of Saint John Bosco. Everybody knows Saint Dominic Savio of he was a student from Saint John Bosco, and he was kind of like the perfect student, right? He was a holy guy from the very beginning of his life. What few people know is that there was a friend of Saint Dominic Savio whose name was Magone, Miguel Magone, Michael Magone. And he was also a very holy young kid. The difference is that he wasn't always like that. He started actually kind of being a loose cannon. So St. John Bosco was coming back from Somarriba, and he was waiting in the train station for over an hour. This was 7 o'clock, 7 p.m., cloudy, there was dark fog all over the place, and he couldn't see anything, nearby. He could barely see. There was a light somewhere in the station that could give a little bit of light over the place. The only thing he could hear was there was a gang of guys somewhere nearby, just yelling and screaming and, saying, go there, grab this, get this one, grab that guy and whatever. And all this yelling, and among all this yelling, there was a voice that was kind of like the leader. He was bossing around everyone else. And whenever he said something, everybody else repeated it and just went along. And so St. John Bosco wanted to know what was going on. And so at a moment where these boys were near him, he just jumped in there. He did 3 jumps and he jumped right in the middle of them. And they all ran away, obviously. They see a priest jumping in the middle. And he walked straight forward to this guy that was the leader of the gang. And this boy also walked towards him with his fists up. And he said to him, who are you to come in here and interrupt our games? And then St. John Bosco said, I'm your friend. He said, well, what do you want? And St. John Bosco said, well, if you allow me, I'd like to be your friend and the friend of your friends as well. Who are you? Who am I? The boy said, I am Miguel Magone and I'm the general of this brigade. During this little dialogue, all the other boys started coming, little by little, curious about what was going on. And so St. John Bosco asked Miguel Magone, how old are you? 13. Have you ever gone to confession? Yeah, he said. Have you ever done the first communion? Yeah, I was admitted. I've been to communion. Well, what is your office? What have you learned to do? Doing nothing. Well, what have you done so far? I went to school. What school? Elementary school. How about your dad? Does he live here? No, sir. My dad is gone. He's died. What about your mother? Do you have a mother? Yes, my mother lives and she works. She works as a maid, serving whatever she's called, doing whatever she can to get some bread for me and my brothers. And in exchange of that, we just get her mad all the time. Well, what do you think to do from now on? I'll have to do something, but I don't know what. The honesty of the boy allowed St. John Bosco to see that if he remained in that state, he would go down the deep end. But he also saw that he had a lot of willpower, and that maybe he could come to the right way of doing things. So he said to him, my dear Magone, do you wish to live this life of a bum? Do you want to learn a skill, an office, an art, or maybe continue your studies? How would I not want to, he said, and he was moved. His voice broke. This miserable life, I'm bored of it. Some of my friends are already in jail, and I'm afraid I'm going there too. But what can I do? My dad is gone. My mother is poor. Who's going to help me? Well, tonight, pray to God with a fervent prayer and ask him heartily, and wait. He will provide for me and for you and for all of you, said St. John Bosco. At that moment, the bell of the station whistled and the train had come, and it was just going to stop for a few minutes. And so St. John Bosco grabbed a medal, a miraculous medal, and he said, here, take this medal, go to the priest Mr. Aricio, and tell him that the priest that talked to you wants to receive a report about your conduct. And the boy took the medal and he said, "But what's your name? Where are you? How do you know Mr. Orizio?" And St. John Bosco had to run and he had to grab the train. Well, that's just part of the story. Later on, Magone did come to the border house of St. John Bosco. And this guy that had begun in this way ended up becoming quite a holy man. But maybe we'll leave that for a later show. That's just the beginning of our story today for the young men. Thank you and God bless you.